Hi, my name is Mike. Today I'm reviewing Northlane's Node. Northlane is an Australian metalcore band that have existed for about 5 years. They're actually named after the Architects song, Northlane, which is cool. I like that a lot. Northlane has been getting a ton of hype on the internet since their inception. Both of their records are huge on social media sites like Tumblr, and nothing else is really like Tumblr, so Tumblr. I never really understood what the hype about Northlane was, and I never really cared to listen to them until I heard that their lead singer quit the band last year. They immediately became much more interesting to me when I found out that they were searching for a new lead singer and that they were just accepting auditions from fans to try to join the band. And then I became 10 times more interested in the band when they got announced to play on the Frozen Flame tour with August Burns Red. So I knew I was going to see them live, so I needed to become more invested in their music. So I checked out Singularity, and there weren't a lot of songs on it that I really liked. I thought that they were just a very run-of-the-mill, genty metalcore band, almost like Periphery if you just toned them down times 100. I thought that the melodies were really flat, that their singer was just an average, clean singer and screamer. But when they released Rait with their new lead singer, that's when I became so much more interested in the band. At the time when I saw Northlane live, Rait was the only new song they had released with their new lead singer. And it felt like they almost just released it to say, hey, here's our new lead singer. And at the same time say, hey, he is so much better than our old lead singer. If there's one thing I really like about Node, it's the vocal improvement from the band. Everything from the screams to the cleans sounds so much better. I just wish that the songwriting was a little more ear-catching. I was super captivated by Rait when it came out. It was a song that I instantly liked, and it's a song that I've been listening to a lot ever since it was released. And the rest of the album just doesn't compare to Rait at all. It feels like the album has 3 extreme peaks in quality, starting with the third track, Obelisk, if I'm saying that right, and then later on with Rait, and then with the song Impulse. I feel like these are 3 really great songs, and the rest of the album does not shape up to these tracks. It's almost like we're spending all this time right down here, and we start the album, we're like, whoa, and then we get to Obelisk, and it's like, yeah, and then we get past it, and and then we get to Rait, it's like, yes, and then we go back down until we get to Impulse, and we're like, thank you, and then the rest of the album is completely boring. Besides these 3 songs, the melodies are just really uninteresting, just very generic. It almost seems like they were standing in the studio and they were like, we need melodies because this is what people want. And they just threw together something that kind of worked with every song. It doesn't translate well. And Northlane's a band that I know is super talented across the board when it comes to every instrument. And the guitar work on this album, I feel, was a big letdown. The drumming is phenomenal, and all of their drumming has been fantastic throughout their 3 records. But the guitar work almost feels like it's just interacting with the drums in the most simple way, where they're just almost copying the drums with that whole genty doop, doop, doop. That I think is really boring, and that's an overused sound, and I wish that they did more melodic stuff with the guitars at certain points in songs. And it sucks that I have to say that because Northlane's a band that I associate with very good, clean, melodic guitar, but I feel like it falls really flat on this album. And I'm totally going to contradict myself right now by saying this, but because I just complained about how there's not enough melodic guitar, but the riff in Obelisk is fantastic. The really heavy part where it's not so much a breakdown because I don't think the tempo really drops at all, but it's a great riff, one of my favorite parts on the whole album. As I said earlier as well, Rait is an incredible song. If there's one reason to listen to this album, it is to hear Rait. If this were just a 3-song EP that Northlane were releasing with Obelisk, Rait, and Impulse, this would be an easy 9 in my book, because the rest of it just feels like fillers for me. With that balance of great tracks and fillers, I think that Node ends up just being a really average album in my book. I think it's something that I'm going to revisit eventually, especially if Northlane gets put on a big bill this fall, but I give Node a 5 out of 10.